Yo, so y'all know why we're here. Camellya was recently revealed for Wuthering Waves as a 5-star character, alongside another reveal for Lumi, a new 4-star character coming to us in Wuthering Waves for patch 1.4. And we will take a look at their character bios, etc, but I did want to talk about Camellya first here, because what we do know about her so far is that she should be a sword user. That's what we've seen so far, and she also will have her vines take place as part of her kit and abilities, which is really awesome. Y'all know the cutscene I'm talking about here, where she whips out her vines and attacks enemies with them. That will be part of her kit in some way, shape, or form, so hopefully we're all excited about the right things here. And it's also looking right now like she's going to be a Havoc user, so she might be able to pair well with somebody like Rover or somebody like Dan Jin if you're running a dual DPS comp. She's also a sword user, so she should be able to pair really well on your already existing team setups that you might potentially already be using. Also, she could be a replacement for one of those two on a dual DPS comp if you wanted to as well. But unfortunately for many players, like Tectone, you won't be able to actually perform the mating press on her in-game. But, as we all know, Rule 34 video is a thing, and you'll be able to perform the mating press on her there. Now, unfortunately for Lumi, we don't really know a lot about her that's concrete right now, but based on the splash art, we've actually been able to accurately predict what some of these characters are going to be doing either in their kit or their damage type. For example, with Lumi, she has a light bulb on the end of her tail, and she also has some light illuminating from the inside of her ears here. So my speculation as of right now is that she's going to be a Spectro character, but again, I have nothing that I'm actually gauging that off of other than her splash art, so take that with a big cautionary warning, okay? A big grain of salt, okay? I don't actually know. But she's probably going to be fitting more of a supportive role, or maybe a survivability role, like a sustainability role, maybe a healer, you know, shielder, something like that, because I don't really see why they would give us 2 DPS characters in a row if Camellya is supposed to be more of a DPS character, which I may have forgotten to mention that earlier. She's supposed to be a DPS style character based on what we know about her so far. And Lumi seems more like a supportive role, or maybe survivability, sustainability, something like that. And part of the reason why I suspect she's going to be Spectro is because of the illuminating light, right? Spectro, aka Spectral, is a damage type that usually represents something like yellowish, like a glowing light. Like, yeah, sure, like they're supposed to be elemental, and so most of the things we have are like arrow, which usually represents wind or something like that. I think Spectro fits her pretty well based off of her design. Again, I'm just talking out of my butt right now, so take that with a grain of salt. Also, her scar, like the little I don't know what you call it, resonator scar that she has, is on her thigh right here in this one little gap of skin that she has showing. I think that's a big fine choice to have made. That is actually some pretty sweet design. And with Camellya, I don't remember if we saw where her resonator scar is, like in her cutscene, but I don't see it here in the splash art, so maybe players are supposed to find out where it is for themselves. And we will be going over their character bios in just a second here, but I first wanted to talk about the new region that we're going to be getting access to, the Black Shores, which we will actually be getting in patch 1.3. And this is going to be the next big chapter for Wuthering Waves. You're right, because 1.2 was a bit of a filler patch, right? It didn't have the same magic in luster as patch 1.0, the launch of the game, or patch 1.1 did, right? So this is going to be really awesome in my personal opinion. I think getting cool characters like the Shorekeeper, getting characters that are fan favorites like Camellya, bringing back that same spark that we had in 1.0 with the launch of the game, bringing us, like, I guess, like some more excitement in the game, because we haven't really had much excitement for a little while, because patch 1.2 was not a dead patch exactly, but it was definitely a filler patch for sure. Because like at the end of patch 1.1's main story quest, Juye basically told us to go to the Black Shores to continue our journey. They recommended that to us because that's where a lot of our origins kind of come from. So I think this is going to be a very fun next chapter to this game. Like sometimes games like Genshin Impact, for example, they give you like 3 patches in a row of story and then a bunch of filler patches, like more filler patches in the entire block of an entire region than there are actual main story patches. So we only had to go 1 patch before we see some more main story in Wuthering Waves, and I think that's a really good way to do it. Don't have us have such a long gap between main story. 1 patch of filler is fine because if we get that next chapter after, like we're going to be getting with the Black Shores, I think that's a really, really good way to tell your story without leaving too much of a lull period in between. So it seems pretty safe to say that along with some pretty sweet world building, we're probably going to learn a lot more about the Rovers Origins, right? Because like since 1.0, we haven't gotten a whole lot of that main story arc where we learn about the rover themselves, because at the beginning of this game, we're pretty much face to face with a god. At least we have to assume that's probably a god of sorts. And then we never saw them ever again. We saw them in a short snippet for like literally like one frame or a couple of seconds of a cutscene in 1.0. I can't even find in my old footage that scene anymore because it's like it was so small, right? And so I really hope to see some more of like the origin story of the main character, along with some pretty sweet world building when we go to Black Shores. All right, so let's take a look at Camellya's character bio here, because sometimes these are actually pretty cool. Boring. Oh, it's you. Hee. I'm looking forward to our game. So this is like I'm looking forward to our game. Like she seems like some psycho like ex-girlfriend style character, right? Like she's reminding me of a chaotic neutral or just a chaotic character in general, and I'm really, really digging that. I think that's part of the allure of the character, right? She doesn't fit the normal like cookie cutter mold that a lot of the characters in the game tend to fit, where a lot of their personalities are somewhat similar in a way. She's kind of like that interesting and unique style character that we all seem to like. Bloom bearer of the Black Shores, which makes sense. She literally has bloom bearer, right? She has a flower. She has literally a flower, like a bud of a flower on her chest. She's got some buds right here, buds coming off of the flowers, off of the vines that are coming out of her hair. She has a black flower right here, and we saw from the shorekeeper that flowers seem to be, or was it butterflies and flowers, seem to be a theme of the Black Shore. You see there's a flower right here in the symbol for the Black Shore. This is the Black Shore symbol, in case you guys didn't know, right here above her name. Anyways, let's take a look at the rest of this here. Camellya is a laid-back character, free from the shackles, with her personal aroma of danger. Intrigued by the belief in fate, she wanders the lands of her own accord, following such a chain of scenarios and its vague guidance. So again, she's one of those kind of like chaotic characters. She reminds me of Kafka a little bit from Honkai Star Rail, if you've ever played that game. Sort of like a character that you can't tell if they're gonna be like a problem, like a baddie or not, or if they're actually like kind of a good character overall. Just again, someone that's chaotic, neutral, if you will, free from the shackles. A dangerous character, wanders of her own accord, so she is acting of her own volition here, and you could kind of tell that from that cutscene that we had with her earlier on in, like, what was it, 1.0. All right, now let's take a look at Lumi's character bio here. So we have, busy days, but it feels like great to be needed. I should keep it up, Lumi. From dense forest to vast wilderness, places where navigator of Lomo logistics, Lumi has traveled, bear witness to her charming personality like a shaft of sunlight. So that sunlight line, right, that fits right into what I was talking about earlier, where I think she's going to be a Spectro-style character. Now, again, that is just speculation. I have nothing to actually base that on off of, other than like the literal character bio and the visuals that we have from her splash art here. Now, we have been correct in predicting that sometimes, but you never know. They could like change things up on us and make her like, I don't know, like arrow damage randomly for some reason. Born disciple, she is now enjoying her daily tasks as a diligent courier, honoring her duty of punctual delivery. So she's going to be a courier. That's going to be her, I guess, contribution to society for the Black Shores, I guess you could say, delivering packages of some sort, whether it is vast wilderness or whatever it may be. So I think that's pretty cool for her. And then it looks like right here we also have this nice visual that they gave us that's very reminiscent of a Genshin Impact or Zenless Zone Zero character reveal. I don't know if you guys recognize the art style here. It's literally the exact same thing Hoyoverse would have done. But along with that, we also had this little snippet right here. Blossoms of scarlet hue are mingled within her hair, with shoots of vines uncoiling to the farther. So we did notice that earlier, that she has kind of vines and flowers and stuff like that coming out of her hair. Let's take a look at this last line here. As they unwrap the tangle of knots, turbid frequencies around her shall all be caught in their deathly jaws. So this is why we like her, right? She's some chaotic, dangerous character, spicy. We like that kind of stuff, right? Because the one reason why these characters are so fun is they're unique compared to all of the other like goody two-shoes style characters in the game, right? So we all like that kind of stuff. Let me know if you're going to be pulling for a Camellya, if you're saving for a Camellya, if you're you know what I mean, going to maybe be saving for something in the future, or if you're going to dump everything you have into Shorekeeper or whatever have you. Anyways, if you enjoy this kind of stuff, consider leaving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.